WD Passport gets a few more visitors. Where are they now? Colonial Pipeline Edition. Safari and Edge fight for first loser spot. These stories and much more on today's episode of MSP Dispatch.
This episode is presented by MSP GeekCon 2023, a conference for MSPs by MSPs. Occurring May 21st through the 23rd, 2023 in Orlando, Florida, this two-day event is built around the journey of technical growth from Tier 1 to Tier 3. Visit mspgeekcon.com for more information.
Good morning and welcome to the May 9th episode of MSP Dispatch, your source for news, community events, and commentary in the MSP channel. I'm Ray Orsini, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Tony Francisco. How you doing, Tony?
Excellent, brother. Excellent. What a great weekend. Monday, and we're starting off the week. We've got all kinds of great things happening. We're here to report the news. I'm clearly in the yellow, and hold on, eyebrows on fleek.
On fleek, brother. On fleek.
How are you doing?
It's a good week. We had our special report come out on Monday about the video exclusive interview of Wes Spencer moving over to CyberFox. Very excited, and we'll link that here somewhere. But more importantly, I think the best use of AI is finally happening. I know this won't affect you, Tony. I know you're an extrovert, but some of us are not people. Slack is coming out with AI, so you actually don't have to talk to colleagues. So I kind of appreciate this. Apparently, Slack, Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, they're all working on this ChatGPT stuff, but specifically so that they can hold conversations with other employees. Apparently, the idea is that people get lonely working remotely, and they want to be able to talk to each other, but they don't want to talk to people because people don't like talking to people sometimes, especially in this weird tech industry. And so their answer to not talk to people is to talk to bots.
This is I don't even know. Is this just to be clear, is this the digital version of the pet rock?
Oh, like we're getting Tamagotchis back or something? Like that's what we're going with? I realize, like, technologically speaking, between the Tamagotchi and the rock, there is a vast difference of technology capabilities there.
Do you remember
but at the end of the day, they both do nothing. They just require your time.
Employees these are my children, my employees. I know you're lonely, so I'm going to mail you a pet rock. They didn't have AI back then, but so now they're coming up with the digital pet rock. Here, talk to this, and it will make you feel better.
You know, I like it that you always go to the bright side of things. You're like, silver lining, it's right here.
And you're like, let me take that down.
Well, I'm just hoping, like, since we cover so many security stories, maybe you can bring some silver lining to our stories. So let's see how you do it. Let's get into the news, man.
Let's do it.
Our top story in the security section is Western Digital's recent announcement regarding a data breach that occurred in March, in a story written by Lawrence Abrams on Bleeping Computer. According to the company, hackers were able to steal customer data due to a security incident involving Excelion's legacy file transfer appliance, or FTA software, which Western Digital has been using to securely transfer files with external parties. The attackers were able to exploit a zero-day vulnerability in Excelion FTA, which enabled them to steal confidential information from Western Digital systems. The stolen data included personal information, such as names, addresses, phone numbers, as well as login credentials and other confidential data. This is not the first time that Excelion FTA has been exploited by hackers. The FBI issued a warning earlier this year, urging organizations to discontinue using the software due to multiple cyber attacks. However, despite these warnings, Western Digital continued to use the software and was subsequently targeted by hackers. The company has assured customers that no payment information or passwords were stolen in the attack, and that it has taken steps to secure its systems and notify impacted individuals. However, this incident underscores the importance of regularly reviewing and updating security practices and software to mitigate the risk of cyber attacks. Tony, how many times have you heard this? Yeah, they stole your login, they stole your email, they stole your phone number, they stole your address. but none of your passwords were taken or payment information. Is that enough?
Let me think. I believe there was a time where we reported something related to this. I cannot remember because it was more than 2 minutes ago. It's every 5 minutes. Happens again and again. And then later,
really does.
lo and behold, usually when another event occurs, this sneaks out. Oh yeah, there was some more information but you know what's happened? Distract and evade. That's what everyone does. Distract and evade. Distract and evade. Let's make sure we get all the white noise out there. Yeah, exactly. All the white noises out there, and we slip this in, and it'll look like throwing a brick in the Grand Canyon. Oh yeah, it's in there. It's one of the many things. You don't notice it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
I am glad that they did voice their the exploit, though, because when people try to shield it, that becomes a very big deal. It hurts not just the company, but it hurts the industry as a whole, especially if it creates a precedent for other companies to do this. I think the best thing you can do for someone is tell them the unfiltered truth in a timely manner. And of course, the worst thing you could do is coddle their ignorance for an important subject like this.
But I don't think I'm going to let you get away with that easy, though. We're not going to give. Here's why. The FBI put out warnings about the software.
Damn it, I knew you were going to say that.
It was not an unknown. This was not oops, we had no idea. This was not like it's some library and some software they use that no. This was software that the marketing name for the software was the content of the advisory. I think somebody has to hold Western Digital accountable for this at this point. No?
I'm trying to take the lighter side. I'm trying so hard.
I'm trying to be nice.
But you're absolutely correct. It's kind of like, what were you thinking? They literally told you, and you kept doing this, and then this happened. And I believe, maybe I'm a little bit off here. Maybe the outcome was what's the word? Predictable? Maybe. What are the odds?
Maybe. And I'm thinking, like, if only they watched MSP Dispatch, right? Like, they would know what's going on, because we tell them this stuff. And I like to think our viewers are a little more educated and a little more suspicious of the average package of software. And I'm just saying, I'm not saying watching MSP Dispatch would have prevented this, Western Digital, but we've seen that not watching it doesn't prevent this. So maybe go full circle, man. Like,
Well, what you're saying is that the Western Digital, the drives that has that they're making actually contains data. So the hack affected drives would contain data which has critical life-saving information that was prevented getting to its source. What you're saying, Ray, is very clearly, if they listened to the MSP Dispatch, we literally could have saved lives. You're saying that the MSP Dispatch saves lives. That's what you're saying.
I didn't want to go that far because, we're very humble here as a show, especially since the Syncro report, which I'll bring up for a third time in a row, linked in the show notes somewhere. Listen, not everybody can be like the number 2 most popular channel in the MSP industry, but we are. And we take that responsibility seriously. Listen, Western Digital, if you want to preload your hard drives and SSDs with at least 10 episodes of MSP Dispatch, we'll work with you to make that happen. I mean, that's got to count for like continuing education credits, something. Yeah. And speaking of stories that they would have had on those Western Digital drives, if we build that deal together, is a story we covered a little while back about Colonial Pipeline. Can you give us an update on that?
And in my first story from darkreading.com, 2 years after the 2021 Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack, U.S. critical infrastructure remains vulnerable to cyber threats, despite federal initiatives like the Industrial Control Systems Cybersecurity Initiative, the TSA's Security Directive for Pipeline Operators, and the Biden administration's executive order on improving cybersecurity. Significant gaps persist. Many organizations continue to rely on voluntary frameworks like NIST Cybersecurity Framework, leading to inconsistent security measures across different sectors. The Colonial Pipeline attack, carried out by DarkSide Ransomware Group, caused widespread disruption and cost the company $4.4 million US in ransom. which was later recovered by the US government. To address vulnerabilities, a collaborative approach between private and public entities is necessary, including a stricter regulation, advanced security technologies, and skilled workforce training. However, critical infrastructure sectors remain at risk due to complexity of the challenge and a lack of sustained attention to risk management. Ray, it's not like I don't know if we've actually talked about ransomware before. Cue sarcasm. I don't know if we have really put an emphasis on training people as much as we've talked about the issues that need to be trained. So maybe, is there a different route we should take? Because it feels like this is a non-stop, it's a never-ending story of ransomware, cybersecurity attacks, supply chain attacks, Colonial pipeline, all the way through from A to Z. Give me some insight on this.
Well, you're also missing when they attack the software used to monitor for attacks, as we reported last week. Bill's got that one too. But it's fine. It's fine. I mean, everything's on fire, but it's fine. I don't know anymore. It's funny. I say it half joking, half not. When people ask me what I would do if I started an MSP again today, my answer would be I wouldn't. I completely respect all the MSPs out there. My hat's off to you. But damn, it's a lot of shit going on. My frustration is for we covered what the FBI asked for $90 million or whatever ridiculous number was last week, which was a bump from the $63 million they had for the previous year. And it's not like they had $63 million a year before. I would imagine some of that went towards Colonial pipeline, toward auditing, inspecting, training, because the FBI absolutely was involved in the Colonial pipeline ransomware incident, without question. And to hear 2 years later, we're kind of still in the same spot. Do we learn nothing? Because this was not, no offense, Western Digital, but this was not some hard drive vendor that had their POS hacked. This is infrastructure. That is not the same thing. And to hear 2 years later, it's kind of still a show. That worries me. That worries me significantly, because forget all the legislation, forget all the required reporting, and MSPs are hella bad and all this other nonsense coming from the gov. But when infrastructure, the thing they appropriately deemed infrastructure, the thing that everybody was crying chicken little because infrastructure got attacked, just like when the water plants were getting attacked, that would be the first thing that needs to be buttoned up once you regain control. So 24 months later, why the hell isn't it?
Do you think maybe we can start talking about, and I'm just throwing this out there for the MSP community that watches us, being that we're the second most popular tool. I'm just wondering if there is something that we can start passing along to others. NIST, the framework, in my opinion, I love it. It's great. But it's also a great place to start, and it is not. We'll say the term globalized as well as it should be, standardized as well as it should be. There are other frameworks to apply, so maybe NIST isn't the right choice, but it is a great place to start. Are there other tools? Are there other skill sets that we can pass to the MSP community, the very community that we talk to daily, that will help spread the word for the betterment of everyone? Maybe that's something we should look at. Let me rephrase that. Continue talking about the problem and really put an emphasis on the education for the solutions of the problem in a generalized category. What are your thoughts on that?
So, you bring up an excellent point. This goes back to when I was giving Slagle and a bunch of security researchers a bunch of because sorry, I'm in that kind of mood, Phil. You're going to be bleeping a lot. But when I was giving Slagle and others, stop saying it depends, give us actionable items. You're absolutely right, Tony. We're complaining about all these things. Let's put it on us to give actionable items. I'm going to give you a quick fire, nice little set of resources besides the resource of the week we'll cover in a little bit. Huntress does Tradecraft Tuesdays, where they go over ridiculously deep dive, cool that's going on. It is free. You don't even need to be a Huntress partner. Go sign up. You have Empath from Wes Spencer, who created his Empath cybersecurity training. You also have Anti-Siphon from Black Hill Security, that also is pay whatever you want for security training. And then to cap it all off, go back to our episode with Wayne Selk when they launched the CompTIA Trustmark that they just launched last year. And I have to think, if the IT providers that were handling the Colonial pipeline had gotten the Trustmark certification from CompTIA, they would not have allowed this stuff to stand. Now, it wasn't available back then, but I'm throwing the gauntlet now. It's available right now. So
this is incredible. Just so everyone, wouldn't it be cool if we had, what would be a good name? I mean, like a resource, like weekly. If we had like a resource, do we have?
We should start that up as a whatchamacallit. We should start that up as a segment, like a resource for the week kind of thing.
For everyone, at the end of this podcast, there's literally a resource of the week presented by not me, that other amazing guy right there. And you just got a bucket of resources. This isn't a resource of the week. This is a bucket of resources for the day. We got to put links to that stuff. Those are great resources. Hey, you know what we should talk about? Being first place. No, that's too. Let's lower the bar. Second place in something is better sometimes because it's more unique. What do you know that is in second place other than the MSP Dispatch being the place that channel goes to get their news? Other than, what other amazing second place position is there?
Tony, first place, meh, anybody can do that, right? Second place, that's where the real money is. And talk about some resources. I'm going to give you a handful of second place browser resources. And my third top story in the business section, Safari retakes second place in global browser market share, but Edge is very close behind. Written by Jose Adorno on bgr.com. Our next story in technology news is about web browsers. According to the latest data from Net Market Share, Apple Safari has regained its spot as the second most popular browser in the world with a 15.91% market share. This comes after a decline last year and a rise of 1.35% from March 2023. However, Microsoft's Edge browser is close behind with a 15.16% share of the market, up 7.6% from March 2022. Google's Chrome browser still holds the top spot with the dominant 68.05% share. One possible reason for Safari's resurgence could be attributed to the recent surge in popularity of Apple's new M1 Max, which of course I have one right here. The devices come with Safari browser as default, and users are unable to uninstall it. I can gripe there. The rise of Edge, on the other hand, can be attributed to Microsoft's efforts to revamp its browser in recent years, making it more efficient and user-friendly. While Chrome still dominates the market, its share has been slowly decreasing over the past few years, likely due to increased competition from the other browsers. Firefox, for example, has seen a slight increase in market share over the past year, with a current share of 5.12%. However, it is still a long way to go to catch up to the top three. Tony, the surprise takeaway here is that Firefox isn't number 2. It's not even anywhere near number 2. When people talk to me about, I know you're like, yeah, I go to Brave or Vivaldi or something else nobody's ever heard of. But like, you and Wes Spencer, and that's it. So like, but I would have figured, Safari makes sense, but I would have figured Firefox for being number 2.
We all used to use Firefox, and I do use Firefox occasionally. I like it. There's a lot of slipstreaming components to the browser that allows you to play around with the code a little bit. I am more fascinated with how 0.7% is the differentiator between third and second place. That's how close it is. But you have 52% difference between
68% up here and then 15%. That's a massive.
No, that is enormous. But you got Microsoft and I'm in a second, I'm in third.
And one could say Edge is right on the edge of being second place.
Okay, so let's play this out for just a moment. Let's think about the enormity of the Apple devices, which come pre-stocked with that browser, and you're just like, oh, you're just going to use Chrome, or you're not going to use Chrome. You got to download the app. This is already installed, and you got Safari there, and you got Safari on your iPad, and you got Safari on your iPhone, and that's people just use Safari. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's tied directly with their passkey. It does, all of the all the browser history and everything rolls over very nicely. You don't have to install anything. You don't have to create some unified code to sync this browser to this browser. I think that's kind of where they got that advantage, that inside track. But make no mistake, look at historically Microsoft Edge. Are they pulling the old Internet Explorer audience in there, or is it strictly the new Edge? That's what I'd like to ask the question.
So here's my thing, right? Like, you and I remember Microsoft in front of the DOJ talking about how Internet Explorer was so embedded in the operating system that it was a monopoly, right? And even though you could install anything else you wanted, it was a monopoly because it was embedded there, and everybody that got Windows got IE6 or whatever it was. Okay, but what is this? Because I can tell you, what's more frustrating than having like the browser embedded into the operating system? It's that when I go to certain websites on my Mac, it says don't use Chrome. You have to use Safari. If not, it won't work. Salesforce Lightning doesn't work in anything but Safari on Mac.
What?
Salesforce, it's a website, and so things like that are frustrating. IE never did that. I mean, unless you had ActiveX controls, but that's a
ActiveX.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We all need our active wallpaper, but and so how is Apple not doing the exact same thing here? How is that
totally
not?
Great. I want to know how somebody didn't come with a class action lawsuit about why Minesweeper was a total monopoly because it came installed on your Windows. That's what I want to know. I was just the browser.
And at least one of those numbers is always full of shit. That's what I'm saying now. I don't care if it's 22222. There's always one that it was right next to it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That'll be for an after party sometime. We need drinks.
Speaking of after party, you know what comes after the main stories?
What comes afterwards?
The notables.
Oh, let's do some of those.
Let's do it. And in my first notable mention from theregister.com, Cisco has issued a warning about a critical vulnerability in its SPA 122 and SPA 232D ATA, that's analog telephone adapter, devices. The vulnerability, with a CVSS score of 9.8, allows an unauthenticated remote attacker to execute arbitrary code on the affected devices. Successful exploitation can result in a complete system compromise. Cisco has released a software update to address the issue, and users are urged to update their devices as soon as possible to mitigate the risk. And in my second notable mention from thehackernews.com, users of the Advanced Custom Fields plugin for WordPress are being urged to update to version 6.1.6 following the discovery of a security flaw. The issue, assigned the identifier CVE 2023-30777, relates to a case of reflected cross-site scripting, XSS, that could be abused to inject arbitrary executable scripts into otherwise benign websites. The plugin, which is available both as a free and pro version, has over 2 million active installations, and the issue was discovered and reported to maintainers on May 2nd, 2023.
In my first notable mention, Discord adds option for custom usernames, making tag changes easier. Written by Stanislav Vishnevsky on Discord's blog. The next story is about Discord's new feature that allows users to customize their usernames. The feature is designed to make it easier for users to change their Discord tags and retain their identity. With the new feature, users can create a custom username that is separate from their Discord tag. That means if a Discord user wants to change their tag, they can do so without losing their identity or changing their username. The 4 to 6 digit identifier after the Discord tag is also going to be going away. For those that don't know, Discord's a popular platform for gamers, but also become a popular platform for online communities in general, including the MSP Media Network Discord that you can access in the links below. In my second notable mention, chatbots to become more human-like with AI advancements, written by Umar Shakir on The Verge. In the second notable mention, we take a look at recent advancements in chatbot technology that will make them more human-like in their interactions. New AI models such as ChatGPT, Bing's Dialogue GPT, and Google's Mina and OpenAI's GPT-3 have revolutionized the capabilities of chatbots, allowing them to better understand and respond to human language. With these new models, chatbots can converse in a more natural way, making interactions with them feel more like conversations with a real human. They can understand context and follow the flow of the conversation, allowing for a more seamless experience. And if you didn't get enough from today's episode, we have a resource of the week. Google launches new Cybersecurity Analyst training program, written by Security Week. Google has launched a new security training program for aspiring cybersecurity analysts aimed at helping those to address the skills gap in the industry. The Google Cybersecurity Analytics Training Program is a free online course that teaches students how to monitor, analyze, and protect enterprise networks from cyber threats. Link to the course is in the show notes below.
There are plenty of amazing upcoming events taking place across the community, so let's see what's happening this week. On May 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Tradecraft Tuesdays DFIR Core Concepts presented by Huntress. Also on May 9th through the 10th, an in-person event, Channel Pro SMB Forum in Chicago, Illinois. And also on the 10th, another in-person event, Next Gen MSP Local in Hartford, Connecticut. And coming from the MSP Media Network this week we have, in case you missed it, AI Roundup Episode 9, The Great AI Arms Race, Can We Survive the Onslaught? Also in case you missed it, 38 at 38, Episode 12, a special Mother's Day edition featuring Aaron's mom, Karina Ramos. And Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, the MSP Dispatch presented by the MSP Media Network.
Hey, I'm Powerhouse Ray.
And I'm Super Cousin Danny.
And we're the hosts of
The Tech Bar.
Pull up a stool with us every other Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern for drinks, jokes, and games with your friends in the MSP channel. So how'd you like today's show? If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't, go ahead and hit it 3 times. And if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the YouTubes or your favorite podcatcher. Did you know we also have a Discord where we post stories all week? You can propose your own stories and even vote on which one we'll cover. As my AI friend Rich Banky says, make sure to tell a friend. Also be sure to follow us on social media at MSP Media TV. Have any questions? Email news@mspmedia.tv for answers on the next episode, or leave us a voicemail, 833-MSP Network. Tony, I don't care if they say we're number 2. You'll always be number 1 in my book, my friend.
You know, I was literally just sending myself a pet rock so I can, but I was going to name it Ray. Be like, thank you, Ray. That was so nice. How are you doing today? I love you, man. You are so nice. I love talking with you. Everybody listens to what we have to say. We share information, but that's better.
I mean, they say you can't squeeze blood from a stone. You can't get a password out of a stone. It seems like the most secure mechanism possible. I'm getting rid of my YubiKey and I'm replacing it with rocks.
It is. Hey, you're trying to steal this from me? Turn it into a weapon.
There you go. There you go.
Oh man, great show, man.
Fantastic show. You know what? We'll pose this question for our audience. If you were going to make a rock your password manager, what kind of rock would it be? Are we talking quartz? Are we talking like granite? What are we talking here?
Somebody's going to say gravel. It'd just be a lot of gravel for all my little changing passwords. I could just rotate like dice.
Ooh, because like you have a good amount of like a good amount of salting the knots. Absolutely, because so many little pieces of gravel. All right, and that's enough for today's episode. Let's pick up the conversation on Discord. But until next episode, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves and each other.
Be safe.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.
WD Passport gets a few more visitors. Where are they now? Colonial Pipeline Edition. Ah. My brain is still tired.
And we're
And
ready.
my
when
top
you are.
story.
All right. My bad.
You know. However, despite these warnings, Western Digital continued to use the software and was subsequently a target. Blah blah blah.
Notables. Hello, notables. How are you? I am good. How are you? Let's talk about some notables. Hey, I'm having a conversation with myself. We're having a dialogue.